Right, let's have a little look then. Dave, just have a look if we're live, mate.
I think we are, but
sorry, every week it's just exactly the same.
There we go. There we go. We're live.
You get notifications as always, don't you?
Yeah.
Let's have a little look. Awesome.
I've had confirmation from Lauren as well that we are now live.
Nice. Great stuff. Okay, let's go into it. Hey, guys. Andy and Dave from EverTrek HQ on another Tuesday tune-in.
Yep.
Today is all about, every week we try and pick a subject. And last week on the live, good old Mick Hamilton brought up the old Island Peak, and we were like, well, I'll tell you what, this week we're going to be talking all about our trekking peaks. Now, it's one of the, when it comes to trekking peaks, it's on all the different, say you've got Nepal, you have, Island Peak, you have Mera Peak, but we also, Killy's a trekking peak. Also, you're thinking of, when we're thinking of Tupkal, also as well in the future. I know Miko is on it. Mick has joined. Mick, I'm blaming you for today's live. But mate, it's good to talk about the trekking peaks as well. And especially with things like Island Peak and Mera Peak, because they're huge, in Nepal. Not just in size, but getting more popular as the years go on. Great to see so many people on, all the regulars: Dave, Rimmington, Rob Jones, Mr. Meacher, Miko. We got Linda, Mark, Bry, and George, Heather, Patrick, Sinead, and of course Mick. Do say hello if you've just joined us as well, and give us a little sort of thumbs up, just to say you're with us. Mick's like about time.
Yeah.
I know, Mick. I know. Well, it's only taken, I think this is our 19th or 20th live, and we're only to.
Wow, is it that many?
Yeah. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? We're doing the weekly ones. But Dave, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. A lot better than you. I'm walking a bit easier than you are this weekend. Andy had a bit of a savage one on the weekend. I had an easy one, didn't do anything. But that's how I'm fresh. But no, mate, good. It's good to talk about the peaks as well, because more and more people, I think, are going on these the peaks like Island Peak, Mera Peak and Killy are probably the three most popular ones that we do. I mean, to be honest, if there's a peak in Nepal that doesn't require oxygen, then we can pretty much run it. Pisang is another one. Lobouché, we've got a couple of people doing Lobouché East.
Yeah, we have.
So it's really exciting. So I know we've had a couple of people as well that have signed up and done. It's not something we sort of package, but we can do is Island Peak and Mera Peak in the same trip.
Well, we've done that before, haven't we? We had one of our customers, Callum, who was adamant. He was like, "Look, guys, I want to do Island Peak. I want to do Mera Peak. I want to do both of them on the same trip." So, we're always we're never people to say no. So we were like, okay, what needs to happen to do that? So we it was quite an interesting itinerary. That was about 29 days, Dave. Was it?
29 days. Yeah, it's awesome. You spend like a month out there. So you'll arrive in Lukla, and then generally speaking, you'll trek over to Kare and then to Mera, and then depending on how you want to do it, you want to jump in a helicopter and come back over to Namche, or walk back to Namche, and then from Namche up to Dingboche and Island Peak. So awesome trip that is. But I mean, like we said, we got lots of people going out to Island Peak lately. So Mick, I think, is due to go. There's a few others that are due to go. So we thought, we'd open the forum up and allow you guys to ask one or two questions on that before you start on boots, sleeping bags, jackets,
all the usual stuff. Yeah, definitely. No. If you have joined in any questions, do fire them away. I'm realizing as well as we're on here that the same as last week, Dave, it seems to have froze. So we can't see the questions. So our social Yeti Lauren is also manning the comments. So definitely, Lauren, if you can post those questions. I have got it on my phone so I can see your guys' comments. It's weird. I got to sort that little techie glitch out, but we'll crack on anyway. Some people, going on to the reason why I'm kind of walking a bit gingerly the last couple of days. We did. I was up in Scotland with a couple of EverTrekkers, actually Doug and Tam, who've done Everspace Camp and Killy with us, and good friends. And we did 7 Monroes in one hit. It was absolutely beast.
Yeah.
And whatever peak you're doing, it's all about the planning. And we didn't realize that the descent, it took us 9 hours to do 7 Monroes near a place called Glen Shiel. And we didn't. The planning maybe wasn't the best it could be when it comes to the descent, because we took a little detour, and it took us 4.5 hours to get down, which is probably a bit longer than we thought.
Yeah.
But right, yeah. So let's dive straight into it, Dave. With regards to trekking peaks, we'll start with Island Peak. I suppose the first thing we need to say is, why is it called a trekking peak? Because it's always a bit misleading, isn't it?
Yeah. So Island Peak is so these ones we call trekking peaks. Now,
Yeah.
trekking peak is sort of a catch-all term that means that it doesn't require any technical climbing ability. So you don't need to have any specific training in terms of, like, a technical peak, for instance, would be Amadablam. You know, which requires fixed rope climbing on mixed conditions, snow, ice, rock. So you need to be proficient in those things, as well as ice axe usage and stuff like that, and climbing with crampons. The reason why we call Island Peak a trekking peak is because it doesn't require that level of ability. You have to wear crampons, and you'll have an ice axe and things, but essentially the only thing you need to learn how to do is walk in those things. So walk with crampons, walk with an ice axe. Although Island Peak is like on the cusp, you know, almost, because there are huge glaciers, especially in the top third of Island Peak, where the huge crevasses have opened up. So you know, as you've seen, like, people in the ice fall, they're doing ladder crossings. You have to do that on Island Peak as well, and some of them are pretty hairy. You know, it's like we're talking 3 or 4 ladders lashed together over some bottomless crevasse. And you go over there with the guide ropes on either side, and, you know, step. So yeah, it can be pretty exciting, and it's pretty it definitely adds a certain element of fear, you know, which I think, you know, improves things. Mera Peak is higher, but it doesn't have that, you know, so it doesn't have like crossings and things like that over huge crevasses. It's more of a steady all the way up. So, but, you know, it is the highest trekking peak in Nepal. So once you've walked up Mera, there's not a mountain that you can go higher without actually having that technical ability.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going through the comments here because I've brought up my phone. Just unfortunately, it's not working here. Yeah, great to see some of the people on here as well. But yeah, with Island Peak then, I mean, Mick's just asked a really good question about weight in terms of the, you know, your equipment, you know, weight of the equipment, because Island Peak's in the Everest region. Mick, I know you've obviously been out there before to base camp, but to obviously anyone else that's going there, weight can be an issue in terms of when you fly in from Kathmandu to Lukla. So you've got to be a bit careful not to carry too much weight, because they can sometimes be a bit fussy. This is the airlines now, as in they'll weigh the bag and they'll think, okay, this is a bit too much. And then sometimes, and we've seen it happen before, they won't take it, they'll leave it. Which, you know, there's options there in terms of getting it up to you, but it just causes a bit of inconvenience. So yeah, with weight, Mick, you're right. With regards to the extra gear you need, if you did, say, for instance, have an extra 5 to 7 kilos, you can do that. It's quite cheap, actually. It's less than £1 a kilo. So it's peanuts, really, in terms of having your gear. But I think, you know, if you are going to bring any of your own technical gear and you're coming on, say, Island Peak, what I do is just give us a little nudge. Just say, look, guys, I'm going to bring my own gear for this. And then what we'll do is then we'll sort of brief the guide, and the guide can have a word with the airline to say, okay, this has got to come with us. The other option that you can do, if you didn't want to take it out there, Mick, is that in Shukang, which is at the base of Island Peak, is that you can actually hire a lot of the gear there, save you carrying it all the way up. They even have people's boots there, and you know, mountaineering boots. Not saying that's probably the best way to do it, but it's an option. You know, if you're, you know, if you don't want to sort of carry it all the way up there. But you know, if you're thinking your harnesses, you know, you've got your Jumar as well, where you're using on the rope. You know, things like that you don't necessarily want to take with you. You know, your crampons, ice axe. Obviously, if you've got your own awesome and you want to take it, but you can just use the one at Shukang. It's relatively cheap there as well, you know, just to use for when you're climbing the mountain and down, and then you can get on with the trekking part.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question a little bit, Mick, around the weight.
Yeah, I'd be like I said, but when it comes to Island Peak, you don't really have to bring anything extra. Like you can bring trekking equipment that's designed for cold conditions, and that's pretty much all you need. You do need a pair of boots, which is probably the additional thing that's crampon compatible. But other than that, if you just bring a down jacket, insulated trousers, a sleeping bag, gloves, hat, all of that stuff you're bringing anyway, you just need to perhaps invest some money into buying kit that's sort of colder weather, extreme conditions. That way, you know, you're not carrying anything extra. What you have got anyway, you know, is going to be suitable for Island Peak. And you can have a few extra things. Like I said, the boots, you're gonna have to carry an extra pair of boots because we don't recommend renting them. But things like harness, helmet, crampons, the ascender, all of that sort of stuff, ice axe, you can save kilos of that by renting it locally from Chikung, like Andy said.
Yeah, I think Mick's mentioned that he's just taken his boots as well. So yeah, great stuff, Mick. It might be worth, I know you're not going to start off trekking with them, but if you can maybe wear your heavy boots on the plane, because they don't actually weigh you, which is a bit silly, but they don't. But they don't weigh you. So if you got, just, and this is to everyone, if you want to sort of, try and reduce the amount of, amount that you have in your bag, try and wear some of your heavy gear. And then when you land, because when you get to Lukla, you will, it's always early in the morning. So you arrive there, fingers crossed, the weather dependent. Anytime between sort of 7:30 and 9:30, and it's a relatively easy first day. So when we get there, you stop for a bite to eat and a cup of tea, cup of coffee, and then you can also sort of change your change your gear. So if you're wearing your heavy stuff, you can just put them back in your bag and off you go. Just a little little idea. I know, Mick, you've been out there before. I think he's commented that's the plan. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, great stuff. I hope that sort of helps as well.
So Haley Brimble has asked a question about fitness and building your fitness in the UK prior to going on an EBC trek.
Okay.
So mileage, peaks, in addition to your training weekends when they start again. So training weekends, just to clarify, they're sort of, we don't really, it's more like a dry run to get all those questions that you might have answered about kit, equipment, pace, training, and we show you what the training looks like. When you are doing your training, essentially, it's all you need to do is think about, I'm a big believer in, if you're training for a bike race, you should ride a bike. If you're training to do a swimming race, you should swim. You're going to EBC, you need to hike. So do as much as you can, as often as you can, in terms of getting out there with a pack on your back. I'm assuming you enjoy it anyway, so it won't feel too much like training. Generally, what I build my fitness is, I want to concentrate on having a strong back and legs. So I might do some leg strengthening techniques aside from walking, like getting your squats done and doing some good leg strengthening, which always helps, because it's not so much about being able to run a marathon. It's about managing your fatigue over a long period of time. So the EBC trek takes 11 days. The last thing you want is to completely cook your legs, so everything is slow and it's difficult. So I think, just get used to doing multiple days in a row is another good thing as well. So if you are doing, some long hikes, you like 6 to 10 miles, try and maybe do 6 to 10 one day, 6 to 10 another day, 6 to 10 on the third day, then allow yourself time to recover and take a few rest days, and then repeat the process, making sure you're getting in hills and stuff. And what that'll do is, when you're actually on there and you're doing the trips and you're doing the treks each day, your legs won't fatigue because they're used to that pounding day after day after day. So that's what I highly recommend. There's no strict regime, although Lauren can post a fitness guide that we have. So if you are the type of person like me, in a way, that likes to follow day by day by day, there is a fitness guide that we can do.
Yes, exactly. And something new as well. Literally the last couple of weeks, I mean, I know Mick, who's on the live. I know you know Stephen from Aim Higher in North Wales. He does a bit more of the technical training, and though you don't technically need technical training to do Island Peak, because it is classed the trekking peak. It does help any time that you can spend with crampons and ice axe and on snow, and experience on snow is helpful. So what we've come up with, a couple of different trips. One of them is a winter skills course in North Wales, and we got another one which is a winter skills course in Scotland. So we've done a couple of these. They're going to be over the next 12 months, facilitated with Steve at Aim Higher. We will be putting them on the website literally over the next sort of several days, and then you can book in on those dates. So there's a couple of different dates for next year because of the situation this year. With COVID, the uncertainty, we've had to cancel our own training weekends. We didn't think it's best to do it this year, but early next year, when there's going to be some great winter conditions in the UK, if you're looking at Island Peak, Mera Peak, even if you go into like Mount Toubkal in winter, where there's going to be snow, then any sort of winter skills that you will learn, any course like that is going to help you. So we sort of created some weekends that we've collaborated with Steve at Aim Higher and his team to put on these sort of skills weekends, if you like. One of them's a 2-day, one of them's a 3-day. We done the 2-day, myself and Dave, a couple of years back. It's fantastic. You just use some basic skills. Just getting used to sort of almost climbing and descending on in winter conditions and everything you need to know on that. So it's very, very useful. So we'll be, just to kind of note there, because it's a good question. Just thought I'd mention that. Any other questions, guys?
Asked about the ladders on Mera Peak and how the team and the guides and the Sherpas actually get those ladders in place if they're needed to cross, because they're amazing at what they do. There's lots of ways they can do it. One of them, they can bring helicopters. They can actually use a helicopter to either lower the ladder or the Sherpa onto the side that they're needing to get to. And then they work together. So they'll lash one, they'll lash another, then lash on top. So it's like almost like that sort of thing, or like the other way. Or there might be another way to go, which is not feasible to do if you're climbing, but to get around the crevasse to the other side and things like that. So there are many different ways that they can do it. The most important thing is that obviously they do it safely, and on Island Peak they have got it because they know roughly where these crevasses open up. I mean, once they've opened, they tend to be there for years, for decades even. New ones can open up, but you will have incredibly experienced guides out there that have summited Everest and many other 8,000-meter peaks. They use Island Peak as a training peak and for acclimatization all year round. So those guys will know that mountain like the back of their hand. And go out there and maintain the ladders, check their fixtures and stuff like that. So those guys are awesome though. They're amazing. You want to look up the ice doctors of the Khumbu. So they call them the ice doctors. The Sherpas that go into the icefall and actually lay out the ladders throughout the icefall so people can climb Everest. Amazing stories that those guys have. I know. I think he's watching has got a lot of experience of that. He's you should look up
climbed Everest.
Summited Everest, and he's got a great story because he was caught out in the avalanche that sadly took the lives of many of his friends. But he has an amazing story, so look that up.
Definitely. With just going into this as well around Dave, you said about how they actually put them in there and things. With the anchoring as well, it does change because naturally across the glacier, and glacier moves from year to year, so it does change. They do have to be made sure they're anchored very well, and that. Because the guys and the type of people they are, they'll test them first. They won't let you on there until they know it's safe. But Miko's on here as well. Miko, great to see you're on again, mate. He's been on most of our lives over the last few months. But Mera Peak, the technical equipment, where could that be rented? So you've got a place called I think it's called Carre.
Carre.
Carre. Sorry, apologies on the way I pronounce it. It's the same there. You can rent it there. It's very similar to like Shukung, so it caters for obviously Mera Peak because it's in the Mera Peak region, but again you're still landing at Lukla, so for Mera Peak and Island Peak, because it's in the same region, you can rent it there. And as Dave mentioned as well, obviously do think about slightly warmer sleeping bags, or colder rating if you like, because it's going to be cold on those mountains, but it's part of the challenge. You said earlier, Dave, as well about they use Island Peak as a training peak. I'm like, still doesn't make it easy, does it?
No, but I mean, if you're summiting Everest.
Exactly.
So if you're summiting Everest, then you would do your training on Island Peak, I suppose. As that's more what I was getting at. But ridiculous. That's how many guides are there on the EBC trek per group. So if you had a group of say 12, you'd have one lead guide. There's always one guy in charge. He might have 2 secondary guides, 2 to 3, depending on the group size. And then after that, then you'd have the porters as well. And those porters some of them will be more experienced than others. So generally, you'll have the head guide who, generally speaking, hangs around at the back of the group. With the people that are sort of the slowest of the group, making sure that no one's left behind. Then you'll have another guy up front who's leading it and controlling the pace for everybody. And then you'll generally have another guy in the middle. So generally speaking, there's always a guide new on thereabouts, but at least sort of 3 to manage a large group.
I think as well, we're always passionate about, when you're working as, even though you're going on a group trip, we do like to work as a team. So even though we got guides at the front, back, and middle, it's also about looking after each other. Like for instance, just picking each other up. Say someone's not having a great day. It's just supporting each other as well. Although it's great to lean on the guides, it's actually nice just to sort of be that person to kind of watch your mate, or the people that you're with, or maybe if you're sharing a room with, if you're going on your own, or, it's kind of good for you to be that pick me up as well. I always find that's always encouraging, because it just takes one person to give you a tap on the back and say, come on, we're almost there. Gives you a bit of a sort of mental kick up the backside, and next thing you know, you're there. Spencer Timothy, hello mate. As mentioned about down jackets, I knew we'd get onto equipment.
Yeah.
Trust Spence to bring equipment in. Would you recommend a good down jacket, Dave? How long have we got? Because we could go all night.
I'm not entirely sure. We might have done a whole episode on down jackets, but
we did actually. Yeah.
The thing is with down jackets, they're like, first of all, if we're just talking about EBC or Kilimanjaro, there are some that you can immediately exclude to narrow down your search. Oh, awesome! The comments have just perked up, but so you don't want to get
finally,
like the wrap microlight, those light North Face ones. You don't need one really. I mean, you can bring one if you want, but when it gets cold, you're going to want a nice, dense, really high fill, like a 900 fill, 700 to 900 fill sleeping bag at least, down jacket at least. So I just summited Kilimanjaro in February, and it was pretty cold on summit night, definitely below zero, because all of our water froze completely solid, and there was wind as well. And I used it was a Mountain Equipment light line.
Brilliant jacket.
Really good jacket for the money you pay for it. I mean, they're always on offer. They're about 190 to 220. For the money, that is a really, really good jacket. There's a picture of me on there, so you can see it's like a big puffer jacket. And that was brilliant. There are some, obviously, I think as long as you stick with a big, puffy, dense fill down jacket from a known brand like Mountain Equipment, Mountain Hardware, North Face Summit Series. There's also another company out there, a British company called PhD. Really interested in this at the moment. Ben Fogle used a down suit made by PhD to summit Everest.
Yeah.
Really interested in those guys. And I know they do categorize them, so you can buy a down jacket that's designed for a 6,000 meter peak. So have a look at those guys. But I think the light line's a good jacket at the moment.
Yeah, nice. I know we're obviously talking about mainly the peaks in Nepal, but Sarah Jenkins, I'll bring her in as a question. It's nice to bring the questions in again. It's been a while since that happened. How much weight would we be carrying for all of our stuff to do Kili? I knew we'd get to Kili before too long. Yeah. We always. But Sarah, very good question. In terms of how much would you be carrying when you're hiking? You want to be carrying as little as possible. If you've got like a 20 to 30 liter day pack, maybe you've got sort of a few liters of water, sort of 2 or 3 liters of water, snacks, maybe your warm jacket. So you'd be talking sort of 4 or 5 kilos max. Some people do go a bit heavier if they're more comfortable with it, especially if they're used to hiking in the UK or wherever you are, with a bit of weight. And then your big bag, which is like your duffel bag, in terms of the weight of that, we try and keep that at say about 15 kg. So on all of our trips, obviously there's people carrying these things, and although they're used to carrying heavy stuff, we want to try and make it as easy for them as possible. But if you need it, you need it. Like you need your sleeping bag, and you need your, if you bring in a first aid kit, or if you need sun cream, you've got to bring some stuff. So don't think they're kind of super strict on that. Especially on Kili, they're a little bit more flexible because you haven't got to fly anywhere. We're just driving, and then we're starting the trip, and then you're walking up Kili and then down. So there's nowhere really where you get sort of penalized for too heavyweight, as long as it doesn't go crazy. They do weigh at the hotel just to gauge, so don't make it too much. But I think if you aim for that.
One thing I will say is as well that a lot of people stress about getting the weight down to 15 kilos. It can be done, So I've done Everest Base Camp and Kilimanjaro, and my duffel bag has always been under 15 kilos, and I've taken everything that I've needed, So I think what happens is people have a tendency to overpack. They'll bring 3 fleeces instead of 1. You only need 1, just pack 1, and they'll bring like 10 base layers, 4 casual t-shirts and stuff like that. Well, I didn't wear a casual t-shirt the whole time I was on there. I just put a stinky base layer on, So be ruthless with what you take, because the less overpacking you do, the more stuff you can put in that's like the fun stuff, like your snacks and power bank chargers to keep your morale up and stuff like that. You know, I would rather have like 1 fleece and 5 packs of Haribo than 2 fleeces. You know. John is on here, the Great Bald Yeti as well.
Yeah, there's a few people have jumped in. I want to give a shout out to a couple as well. I know Shane Ryan. I think he had a bit of an accident over the weekend. So, Shane, I hope you're well. It sounds like it was a bit of a bumpy one, but yeah, I think get well soon, mate. I'd say. And also as well, I think. Let's have a look. Who was it? I think it was Jennifer Kay. You mentioned about because I think you're familiar with maybe the hike I did on the weekend. It was the South Glen Shield Ridge. And it was absolutely brutal, but it was brilliant. And we did take 2 cars, yeah. Otherwise, the midges would have absolutely murdered us because the moment we got down, we had swarms of them. My legs were paint by numbers the day after, so it was interesting. But yeah, it's great to see so many people on as well. And Asha, I know, is on here, and she's actually done Island Peak. Asha's a member of our community as well, and she's always some good knowledge. So yeah, Asha. Yeah, we might be relying on you in a bit.
Well, you that Ash's inbox is going to go crazy. You know. So.
I know.
I did see
it's great to see so many people on.
I saw an interesting question from Joel Palmer. It was asked about rucksacks for EBC sizes and stations. So when we talk about rucksacks, we were talking about day packs.
Yeah.
Now the same one is good enough for EBC, Mera Peak, Island Peak, that sort of stuff. We recommend about a 30-litre. You know, you've got a little bit of wiggle room either way. So I've taken a 25-litre to EBC before. I've taken a 35 to 40-litre to EBC. So I think about 30-litre is your sweet spot. You don't want to go on a too big. You don't want a 50-litre big Bergen or anything like that because you'll just fit it, and you don't need to carry that level of weight. So I recommend about a 30-litre rucksack. You can't go wrong with a 30-litre Osprey Talon. That's a solid recommendation. Start there, and that will almost certainly work for you. And then there's also Low Alpine is really good. There's a German make, what are they called? Deuter.
Yes, Deuter.
So, you do get rucksacks as well. But to be honest with you, I mainly use these days Osprey or Low Alpine. They tend to be really good. And you can. So when you travel into the country, you can. When you go to Nepal, you can bring a suitcase. When you arrive at the hotel, the guys there will give you your duffel bag, which the porter will carry. So, and then you'll just carry the stuff you need every day. If you've been hiking in the UK, you know what you need to bring: rain jacket, snacks, water, that type of thing. And use the duffel bag. If you go into Kilimanjaro, I recommend taking your stuff in a duffel bag already. Or you can bring it in a suitcase and rent the duffel bag from those guys. We haven't got the facility yet to make the EverTrek ones in Tanzania, but we think at some point we will be doing that pretty soon. Yeah,
definitely. Great to see some more people on here as well. I think Jim from the ABF. Jim, say hello to Pete Davis from me if you see him. Jim, I know you're heading out to Nepal really soon. Let's have a look. All the other questions. Diane. Diane, great to see you on here again. Yeah, it was great to go up the Highlands. Absolutely love it. Scotland's a fantastic place. And you're going to be out hiking soon. Yeah, you mentioned about, as I'm just reading your question here, because it's a bit of a big one. But you general training. Anytime you're out in the mountains, it's good. I mean, especially if you go to Everest Base Camp, Kilimanjaro. I know you're going to Machu Picchu and Tuptal with us as well. It's just time in the mountains. As Dave said earlier, if you're going swimming, you do swimming. If you're going cycling, do cycling. Same with hiking. Time in the mountains. Just pack on your back, out there, just enjoying it. Putting the time in your legs, especially if you can do over consecutive days, will pay dividends when you're in the mountains on a high altitude, because you can't really train for altitude. You can't acclimatize before you go, really. I mean, I know you've got the altitude tents, things like that, which can and do have percentage helps, small percentage helps. But the time spent in the mountains is key, is so important. So yeah, I think you're doing the right thing. Get out there, enjoy it, enjoy the time. It's fantastic anyway, in its own right. Especially if you go to Ben Nevis. It's Dave. I know you got some interesting stories around Ben Nevis, haven't you? Last year you did CMD route.
Yeah, last July we did the CMD route on the hottest day of the year. It was brutal. Ran out of water. The only time it's ever happened to me. I took 3 liters with me and assumed that would be enough, and it wasn't. And actually, I had one of these. So a filter bottle, but I left it in the van. So it was a little bit of a sort of reminder never to be too complacent, my trip up Ben Nevis. I mean, it wasn't in any real danger, but man, the thirst was maddening because I ran out of water before the summit. And then anyone that's done Ben Nevis knows how long of a walk it is.
It's a long way down.
When it's boiling hot. I did drink out a couple of the burns out there just because I had to, and yeah, that was pretty hardcore. I loved it though. The CMD route on Ben Nevis is so much fun. Can't wait to do that again. Speaking of these, actually, I just spotted someone asked about them.
Leah.
Yeah, we will be selling them.
Yeah.
Set up the store on the website, and as soon as that's ready, we'll be putting these up, and you can buy them. But yeah, they're not going anywhere. Don't worry, we'll definitely get you one.
Yeah, we know they're really popular right now, and we want to get them out. This store's been, if you've been following the community for a while, unfortunately it's just taken longer than planned. It's because we've got obviously a lot of people wanted to buy stuff. It's we can't store it in the office, so it's got to be our supplier, and working that with the website is taking a little bit longer. But we will get some out to you as soon as we can, guys, because I want to see these out in the mountains. I use the water filter, the water bottle, the water to go bottle, the EverTrek one up on Glen Shield Ridge, and it was fantastic. Just filled up in the waterfall, drunk it, happy days, and at the end of the day, meant I didn't have to buy any plastic bottles. So, kind of 100%, we want to get that out to you as soon as we can. Let's have a look. Just going through, guys. Any other questions you could spot, Dave?
Yeah, I got loads. So,
okay.
Here's the one. So, so Lee Williams, going to EC March 2021. Awesome.
Okay.
How are you going? May 21.
Hey.
I've got a Gore-Tex Pack-Light waterproof jacket. Is that sufficient? Yes. Do you need waterproof trousers? Yes. So with regards to the jacket, I got two. I think I got two Gore-Tex. No, Gore-Tex and the Rab, whatever the Rab use, Pertex. If it keeps you dry in the rain, bring it. That's fine. Some light ones do, some light ones don't. Some heavy Gore-Tex ones do, some don't. So trial it out first, wear it out on a rainy day. If it keeps you dry, then bring it. Definitely bring waterproof trousers as well, because they pack small, they don't weigh much. And I always say it's like a condom. You'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Wow. Is that analogy of the week, is it? I know.
Sorry, the tone down, but it's the only thing that comes to my mind.
Brilliant. We talked about apples last week, and now you're going on to condoms. But, it's all good at the end of the day, yeah, like you said.
Yeah,
so you need to have it, wouldn't you?
Exactly, yeah. So I always pack. To be honest, in my day pack, if I was to sort of label out what I put in every time I go hiking, bottom of the bag, waterproofs, and then some water in the bladder, snacks all around, and that's it. Maybe hat and gloves as well. And that's all I'll pretty much bring with me day to day, because the guide when you go on the trip will tell you pack your waterproof, pack your your down jacket if he feels you're going to need it.
Yeah.
So bring them definitely, because I got caught. I think we got caught, didn't we? I remember the monsoon in September when we walked
on the way back to Lukla. Yes, yeah, that was fun.
I mean, to be honest, because I'm such a champ, I gave away my Gore-Tex jacket to a friend who didn't have a waterproof jacket, and he didn't know sort of the route and how long it took. And it was only raining a bit.
Yeah.
So I thought, take mine. And
little did you know of the impending monsoon.
I was like, why did I do it? I'm soaking. So in the end, I saw this guy walk past me, a local Sherpa who lived in one of the villages, with an umbrella, and I was like, right, if it's good enough for the locals, it's good enough for me. So I walked into a store, asked the guy for an umbrella. He said he didn't have one. I pulled out a wad of rupees. He found one, and I think I bought the most expensive umbrella I'd ever.
There's always one lying around if there's rupees around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but my dad said, because my dad was going very slowly and he was following me at the back. He said it was like following some city tour guide with the umbrella.
Very good, very good. A couple of people, Dave and I believe Paula as well, mentioned similar question. I'll bring Dave up here. Dave, great to see you on the live, and Paula. I know you guys are on here a lot. Are the duffel bags waterproof? Yeah, so they're made of, I forgot the materials it's called now. It's struggling to come with me, but it is. They are. We always put like a cover over it anyway, just in case there is any major precipitation. But we've never seen them leak. They're made of, what's the material called, Dave? But it's waterproof, isn't it? It's like dry bag material.
The material is called duffel bag, and basically I can't remember. All I know is if you've seen the duffel bags that are used for expeditions, so it's generally hardware in bottom and it's almost like a plasticky sort of material on it, so it's water resistant, bordering on the waterproof. But then we, like Andy said, we couple that with the waterproof bag, So that you'll have the water. So together, they'll be totally fine. So even if it's heavy rain, we guarantee that your kit will be dry when you open it up in the room. To be fair, you only really experience the rain at the lower altitudes. Most days on Killy, depending on when you go, you'll get a shower in the
Excuse me.
when you go to Everest, it'll be in the lower altitudes. Above that, it'll be snow if it does fall.
Great stuff. Yeah, some really good questions coming through now. Let's have a look. Yeah, because Sinead mentioned about sort of dry bags and the duffel bag are handy. Yeah, it's a very good point. I tend to do that myself as well. I kind of have stuff sacks, which are sort of waterproof as well. So I'll put, like, say if I'm bringing like my GoPro, or if I got my power pack, for instance, I'll put them in the dry bag just to keep them away from moisture. Again, as Dave said there, the material is kind of water resistant, borderline waterproof. But just to be sure, have another sort of safe area, if you like, just in case. I would. I think just it keeps everything sort of separate as well. And one of our EverTrekkers and good friend Tom, who came with us back in April 2019, he had his bag sectioned out, and I was like, wow, that is organized. So because most people just bung everything in, it's everywhere.
Andy, your bag stresses me out.
I know what it is. I know what everything is, but I'm old school.
My bag is relatively organized to a degree, not as bad as like Tom. I think his bag was amazing, like packing cubes, everything like done, labeled. Yeah. It was a thing of beauty. I respected it. I've walked in, because I always share a room with Andy, and I've walked in before, and it's like, whoa, because Andy's bag is just like, I've literally seen him go, where's my head torch? Where's my, and then, but what works for you works for you, So like I said,
it worked.
Yeah. Someone just asked, do you need a padlock for your duffel bag? No, not really.
People do, don't they? Yeah.
Traveling like from country to country, I'll always padlock it. So if I'm using my duffel bag, I'll padlock it. But on the trip itself, no, you don't need it. It's not. You're only going to be you with the EverTrekkers and the guides and stuff. It's all completely safe.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I've never ever used one on any of the trips or anything like that. I think losing the key would be far more of a reality than theft. So
that's a very, very good. That is very, very good point. Byron has asked about. I'll bring him in. Let's have a look, Byron. Great to see you on, Byron. I know you've been on loads of our lives, mate.
Oh,
yeah. Buy an EverTrek buff. We don't sell them, but we give them away.
No, they're 195 now, and 195. Yeah, I suppose you could. Do we have any in the office?
Yes, yeah, we do have stock, because we do our printer. So basically, when you book with us and you get your planner, because we've got a bunch of planners going out real soon now. We made some sort of changes and tweaks. So basically, when you get that, your buff comes with that as well. So our printer, who sends everything out, our planners and welcome letter, things like that, they get sent to you. So there's no charge for these buffs. And also, if you don't get one, or you lose one, we can send you another one. So I'm sure we can send Byron one, right?
Yeah.
Sure we can.
Now we're going to open the floodgates here. So like,
well, most people on the air have got one. I know who's got them.
I'm going to be hear them before the end of the week. Send us a message. I can't guarantee when I'll get it to you, because I got to find one first. But
we need to order some more. But they do. The problem has been in the 6 months they do come from China, so the stock hasn't been great from there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, send me your address, and I'll post you one when I get hold of it. Shouldn't be.
I'll make a note of that anyway. Great stuff. Right, what else we got? We got Sarah Jenkins. Let's do Killy for your birthday. I'll bring you in, Sarah. Great to see you on the live for your birthday next July. Yeah, why not? Do it for your birthday. Great excuse to get out there. What clothes do you need? Wow, it's we do have. I tell you what, because we could talk about all the clothes that you need. I'll get our social Yeti Lauren to post a link if she can. We've got a tick list specifically for Killy of all the clothes that you need. I think that would be really useful, Sarah. Other than that, if you're sort of hiking in the UK, I know you mentioned you're a relative newbie to hiking, but the stuff you use in the UK, most of it is transferable, and you can use on Killy. You don't need any technical gear, really. I think the only thing really I used on Killy that I didn't need in the UK was a poncho. because I never wear ponchos in the UK. I just wear my waterproofs. But it was
you do in the UK.
Yeah, you do. I just don't wear them. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, poncho is good, yeah, on Killy, just because it rains pretty much every day, and you can just get those big ones that go over your rucksack as well, so you can just throw it on quickly. Makes a big difference. Let's have a look. Diane, you don't have a welcome letter, planner, or buff yet? Yeah, no, that's because they get sent out before the trip. But I think if you've rescheduled, but do you know what? The issue is we brought these planners in, but because we make them personalized for everybody, so they've got your name on it, they're for your trip, and because we send so many people on so many different trips, you wouldn't believe the scale of the operation in order to get these planners made and sent out to everyone. Really, it's a whole other business that we. So
it's been with the COVID changes, it's been challenging, isn't it? But you know, no excuses now. We will get it out to you, Diane.
Yeah, we are going to get them. But yeah, it is. It's tricky, but you know, and obviously we keep adding more trips, so we need more planners. But no, we'll definitely.
Diane's booked on 4 trips with us. That's why.
Yeah. To be honest, she's earned a planner. We'll get one out to Diane.
Yeah, I wrote.
These have earned their planners, you know. So.
Yeah, definitely. Some good questions as well, though, guys. I think Joel Palmer has brought up about charging for phones. Dave, I know this is probably one for you.
Yeah. So I always bring power banks with me now. So I think they're actually on a discount with Amazon at the moment. The Anker 26,800 is a bit of a beast power bank. Which have I got one here?
Hey, Mr. Butters, thanks for joining us.
No, I don't have one. But anyway, they're brilliant. So that's all I use. Now, to be honest, I have about 5 now. So I don't ever even use the plugs in the hotel. I just use my power banks. Base Camp or Kilimanjaro. One of those will last you for the trek. If it's just you using it and you use it once a day to charge your phone. If you're going to be sort of lending someone, what I call lending them a dot. So you have 5 dots. So sometimes I'll be like, Andy, do you need a dot? And Andy can get a charge out of it. I bring 2. 2 is definitely enough. I brought 5 when I went to Kilimanjaro because we had some people filming, and it provided all the charges for me, all the charges for Andy, all the charges for Steve. So yeah, the Anker 26,800 power bank. I think they're normally 50 quid, but I think they're about 30 on Amazon. So check those out. I just noticed Tamrin asked about solar powered ones.
Yes, I did see that.
I don't use them because where we go is either really, really sunny and great or really, really cloudy. And if it's cloudy, they're useless. And for the price that they are and the size of them, you could just get an Anker power bank, charge it.
Yeah, I've never seen a really good one, to be honest. Yeah, I think they're a bit gimmicky. It looks cool. You think, wow, it's solar chargers, but it rarely works. I'd stick to like you said, Dave, isn't it? The ones you get, is it the Anker power banks you use?
Anker power bank. I was certain I had one. So I'm a bit sad that it's not there. But you know what? I've got the case for it. That's a bit of a beast. But it fits in there nicely, you know. But I don't have a power bank.
Brian McAlpine's made a good point. One for you, Dave. Can Dave drink out of the water bottle?
I spotted it and I gave him a sneaky drink without saying anything. So I think he'll give him a little wry smile for Brian, you know. But yeah, just for him. So they're tricky. The filter, you have to suck it, man.
They do. That's the thing with these filter bottles. Whether you're using one of these water to go, whether you're using a Life Straw, Sawyer filters, which actually they turn into it's like a straw. You have to really give them a good suck to get the water out, just to almost get it through the filter. But yeah, so it's great.
We've had a comment from Tom that's come in via another medium saying that rolling your socks up is far more organized than us guys are capable of. So, Tom, I want to say, I think I'm getting flack here for Andy's bag. Mine wasn't too bad. And since I saw Tom's method, I am now a full packing cubes. I am now a packing cube cobbler. I bought a load of them and I write on them socks, t-shirts, base layers, trousers, and then they all go in the bag. So when I want my pull out the base layer cube. And I've got to be honest, that's from Tom. Tom's brilliant though. Tom, when you're trekking with Tom, he's like the sort of go-to man. Like if my strap isn't quite right, rather than figuring it out myself, Tom. And Tom will
he is a fixer, isn't he? He's Tom is an awesome bloke. Very good friend of mine. And he needs commission for those packing tubes because I think everyone has followed what he did on our trek. I think everyone's bought them now.
Yeah. To be fair as well, I tie my laces a certain way because Tom showed me.
Yeah.
So there's a certain way I tie my laces now, my boots, that's different to the traditional way that gives me a more secure fit. Yeah.
They do work. They do work.
And to be honest, we've kind of landed on one of the reasons why I love trekking, because you'll meet people like this. Like, although I've known Tom for a while, there's always a Tom on every trip, and you can learn from everybody like that, So what we do is give you the broad strokes. What works for you, there's only one way to figure that out, and that's to get out there, get in the mountains and figure out what works for you, and that's what I did.
Yeah, nicely put, mate. Nicely put. Amanda has asked about decent camera. Most smartphones are good enough these days. If you've got an Apple, Huawei, although, watch out. If you've got a Samsung, even you've got the Google Pixel, most of them, capture the scenery. I mean, if you're really into your photography, we do have some people, I don't know if they're on here right now, who are, we would definitely say, are members of Camera Club, who are on the trip. I don't know if Max is on here or Natasha. But yeah, there's, if you're looking for an SLR, maybe drop a message in the Facebook group, High Altitude EverTrekkers, Amanda, because I know we've got people like Alan Payne, who has taken some camera gear out to Nepal, and can recommend maybe some good sort of mid to high level cameras. Also James Wright as well. He came with us to Kili. He was our resident photographer, and he runs a photography business, so he could certainly point you in the right direction. So yeah, Amanda, I reckon put a post in the group. I think loads of people would jump on that and recommend some specific ones. I mean, for me personally, because I do use the odd camera, I've got an SLR, so Nikon D500. It's relative mid-range, but great for sort of nighttime photography. But the one thing I've learned, it's all about the lenses. So get yourself a good core SLR camera, and and then spend a bit of money on the lens. If you want to get into it. But then again, if you go into, there's one thing I've learned about going to these places is that technology doesn't always do so well because of the dust, moisture. So we kind of recommend, really, if you're going to take like an SLR, to take one, maybe two lenses max, just because otherwise you'd be forever cleaning them.
Yeah. And one thing I would say as well, that a really good way in order to get like really good pictures on the mountain is what I do, is I go with someone that takes really, really good pictures. And that way I don't even have to take a picture. I just look at that and say, oh, and that would be a great picture, wouldn't it? And I'll say, can you send me that?
I do notice you do that when I take it.
But the thing is, because I think photography, everybody's an amateur photographer these days, except me. Like I just don't take a lot of pictures. I can't help it.
Hey, Fee snuck in, and Fee is our new project manager. I hate to sort of steal her thunder. I don't want to do this too much because I think she could do it next week. But Fee is joining the team next week, starting her new role as the Bimbling Yeti. Yeah. So yeah, she jumped in. That's a nice little picture I have. Just watching there. Is that a monkey on her profile? I quite like that. Definitely not Tom. But yeah, Fee, I can't wait for her to join next week. She is joining the Yetis. And anyone else that's on, because I did see a few people on here as well. We are organising the interviews for the other Yeti position within the next few days. So yeah, we'll be letting everyone know. I think a little bit longer than planned, but we can't wait. We're growing the EverTrek team to look after all of our EverTrekkers. And yeah, really exciting time. So Fee is great, fantastic person, but she's also got some great ideas for us going forward, regarding plans for the future EverTrek. So yeah, really excited. So I think everyone give Fee a little welcome. Do say hello to the new Bimbling Yeti. I'm sure we'll be bringing her on to one of our lives or podcasts or something like that over the next sort of few weeks anyway. Yeah, awesome. I just noticed one Mark Van Rossum has said, can you guys take a drone on the Himalaya trips? Unfortunately, no. In order to use a drone, you need a special permit. They are many thousands of dollars, maybe 10 grand for a drone permit. I think the reason why it's not a good idea to bring a drone is because there's a lot of helicopters, low flying helicopters in the Himalaya, and they're going all the way back and forth all the time. Now, and they're going very fast. So if you have a drone up there at like high altitude mixing with the helicopters, it can cause a catastrophic
collision. So yeah, they don't do them. When you do have them, there are strict rules and regulations about where you can use them, controlled airspaces where they can fly and stuff. So I suppose the short answer is no. That was the long answer.
Quick fire, Dave. No, no, it is frustrating because we were thinking of taking a drone up there to get some cool footage, because you do see it. You do see some footage out there, and you're thinking, how the hell did they film that? Because yeah, there's specific signs now, and yeah, if they do catch you, it's a lot of money fine. So they're passionate in Nepal about clamping down on that. Unfortunately, Mark, I know it'd be really cool to sort of take one. But yeah, what else we got? We got Stephen Powell dropped in about wants to maybe look around Annapurna, whether you want to do base camp or the circuit, looking for a steady walk. Yeah, awesome, Steve. You know, great lead at EBC. I think they're both really good. I'd say if you're looking for something like you've done Everest Base Camp, I'd say the circuit is probably for you. Annapurna Base Camp is actually lower than Everest Base Camp. So it's, or I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's probably easier than EBC. So if you're looking for something a bit more challenging, I know with the circuit, you go over a place called Thorongla Pass. It's over 5,000 meters, and it's it's a challenging one. So I think if you're looking to do the circuit, I highly recommend that. I think you love it. It's the Annapurna region challenges the Everest. It's always like, which is better, Everest or the Annapurna region? They're both beautiful. I think Everest is obviously popular because of the history. The Annapurna's sort of popular because you've got this big massif which doesn't leave you in the entire circuit.
Yeah.
So yeah, Steve, we'd love to have you with us if you're looking at it. Have a look at the circuit. If you jump on the website and have a look at the Annapurna Circuit page, you can download the walkthrough guide.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little bit more information for you, a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, you'll also get to see Mount Machu Picchu, which I think it sounds like Machu Picchu, but I think that's right, Machu Picchu.
Fishtail Mountain. Huh?
Fishtail Mountain, yeah, which is a sacred mountain in Nepal. So no one's ever reached the summit. It's got a really good prominence because it's there's low-lying mountains around it, and there's this spire, kind of Ama Dablam-esque, and the top kind of twists into a forked fishtail.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, amazing mountain. You can't. It's like Ama Dablam. You can't take a bad picture of it. You know, it's just stunning. Or at least Andy can't take a bad picture.
I was waiting for that. I was thinking, Dave. A couple more questions there, guys. Like I said, we're coming towards the end, but any more questions, do post them. Do mobiles work on the peak in cold for taking photos? Yeah, I mean, whether you're on sort of Island Peak, Mera Peak, Kili, Tubkal, any sort of peak really, you know, it is going to be cold and it does drain your battery. So most people, and I do as well, I keep my phone sort of close to my chest to kind of, so it's a bit warmer. But yeah, do take note. I mean, you know, hopefully it'd work for you. Maybe take a GoPro as backup, but we've heard of people, you know, people who reach the summit with us, they've had summit photos taken using a mobile. So it just depends on the conditions, I think, Leah. You know, if it's really good, make sure it's fully charged. Maybe wrap it in a sock just to keep it extra warm and then put it in. You know, maybe that might sort of insulate it a little bit, just so it keeps, to get that big shot, don't you? That money shot. We need the, when you're on the summit. One for you, Dave. I know you're big on this one. Oh, wrong one. Sorry, Fee. Is Sarah mentioned about laces. Have you used lock laces on your boots?
No. The most I had a pair of Morels that had I think it's the BOA lacing system. So it's like the wired lace with the dial on the side. I had some of them. They were pretty good, but I didn't like them because they didn't have much flex, you know. So I use traditional laces, and I use a different method to tie them. I could probably find it on the internet and post it if you wanted. But basically you go around and up, cross, back down, and tie the knot sort of more on sort of the ankle of the boot, the front ankle. So no, I've not used lock laces purely because I like to have a bit of give. I like to be locked in, but you know, after a while, a day of trekking, your feet can flex and stuff like that. So actually, I prefer traditional laces on my boots. But no, if you've used them, I'd love to hear about them and see what your take on is, because it's not something I've got extensive experience with. But yeah, I'm very interested.
Wouldn't it? Yeah, it'd be interesting to see sort of what they're like, because I've never used them either. I've always used, I'm like you, Dave, I kind of use the laces. And although another shout out to Tom about the laces, because they do work, don't they? They lock it in.
Yeah.
With that one, I think Chris, great to see you on again, mate. Asked any further with K2 base camp? Yeah, we haven't we kind of put that on the back burner, not for any major reason other than when it did come about, which was the beginning of this year. Obviously, the craziness, Corona chaos hit. So it is there, yeah. So again, Fee, who's joining the team, and our other Yeti to be decided. Sorry, I had to do that. Is we're going to push forward with all these kind of ideas and new trips, because we've K2 base camp's one of many we're looking to get off the ground. Obviously we got core sort of trips that are really, really awesome right now. But yeah, Chris, we'll keep you updated as always, mate. I know you're on most of the lives every week. Yeah, if K2 base camp was going to be live, we would be talking loads about it. So yeah, just keep your eye out for that one. Where is excited for you? I think Dave, that's been on your bucket list for years, mate.
Yeah, one of my favorites because of the nature of the trip. It's campaign, it's wilderness, it's very it's very sort of, it's a raw, unfiltered sort of trip. I really love that. But so yeah, I'm going to be, as soon as we're able to, like, we were all ready to go. We had everything sort of lined up to start the process. And then obviously with COVID and everything like that, all our travel options got shut down for the first half of the year. So we didn't really have much option because we always like to go out there, meet the people that we're gonna actually be on the ground in Pakistan doing the trip, and make sure that everything is EverTrekified, so we know what we're going to be providing. We haven't been able to do that. So, but mate, it's 100% going to happen. We're going to push for it. I mean, there's that, there's lots of other things that we're going to be planning to do, maybe some stuff in North America, maybe Elbrus and things like that. These are all things that are on our list of trips we want to get out. Aconcagua is probably going to be the next one, I'd say, Andrew.
It is the next one, yeah. It's pretty much almost done now. We've just got a few things. It's been almost done for a while, but we can't wait. Diane's just asked a good question as well. Is the highest summit in Europe a technical climb? Not really, Diane, no. You've got Elbrus. It's one of the 7 summits, being obviously the highest mountain in each continent. But it's not classed as a technical mountain because it's although you're using fixed ropes, ice axe, crampons. Again, there's different routes depending if you're coming from the Russian side or from the Georgian side. But yeah, the route we kind of use, or we will be using, will be one of the probably more popular routes because it's a little bit easier. Although we're quite excited about Elbrus. And again, as like Chris has mentioned there about K2 base camp, it's one of those things we're really excited about, sort of pushing on with and getting out there, testing it, making sure, like Dave said, it's EverTrekified, making sure that it's as good as all the other trips, because we don't want to just run the trips just because we can. We want to make sure they're good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we could run every trip in the world.
Yeah.
From tomorrow if we wanted to, but there's a certain level of quality and safety that goes with it, that goes with the trips that we run. So I think we're definitely gonna do it. But mate, it'll 100% happen because it's been on my bucket list for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I see Jerome, Mount Washington. Yeah, that's on the radar. Denali, it's on the radar. Certain aspects of the Appalachian Trail and things like that. I mean, mate, the world is out there. If there's a hardcore sort of adventure in the world, we're interested in it.
Yeah, definitely. If it involves the mountains, then that's our domain at the end of the day. So, yeah, awesome. Right, we come to the end now. I know we've kind of covered off most of the questions. I know there's a few I'm just going through here, but yeah, if we haven't sort of answered your questions, we'll come back and sort of tackle them. But it's been great, Dave. I know as always, we always start off talking about the mountains, Island Peak, Mera Peak, and we always go and end up on something else.
Well, we started on a peak and we finished on a peak,
Very good. I like that. That. No, great to see everyone on here. We'll be back next week. Try and do a different subject. In the interim, any questions at all, just drop us a little message at info@evertrek.co.uk. Again, if you didn't quite catch this live or all of it, we'll be putting it on the YouTube channel and also on the podcast as well if you want to listen to it within the next couple of days. But yeah, Dave, awesome, mate. Well done.
Awesome.
See you in 30 seconds.
Yeah, see you in 30 seconds, mate. Yeah, everyone, see you Tuesday.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Always, bye.
Bye.